Alright, we are just getting started here with this second gen Cummins project, swapping it from an automatic transmission to a manual transmission. This old slush box in this thing decided to start slipping on me the other day. I kind of have always wanted it to be a manual anyways. I used to have this same year truck and a manual, loved it. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to introduce everything that we kind of have to do first before we dig into it, and show you the parts I got, what I picked up, and then show you the different areas where we'll be working, and then we will dive right into it. So I'm going to hold the camera here. Hopefully this doesn't make it all blurry, but I think we're all right. Okay. So this truck is a 1999 Dodge Ram 2500 Laramie SLT. Came with an automatic transmission. Love this truck. It's kind of crazy story about this. My cousin picked it up in a auction, and it actually was totaled in a wreck in California. Sat in a Copart junkyard for almost 3 years. Somebody bought it in near Las Vegas, Nevada, fixed it up to what we see. Didn't really do a lot of motor stuff, but did a lot of body work. It was quite damaged, and I picked this up. Pretty decent deal. I knew the automatic transmission was probably going to fail, especially I bought a programmer that I threw at it. I bought this Edge Comp, the new Edge Comp. It's through your phone. I really like the power upgrades, but it's probably what led to my transmission failing in the first place. So once it started slipping on me, I kept my eye open on the classifieds, and there was a guy up in, if you're familiar with Utah, up north of Logan, Utah, selling this whole entire transmission, transfer case, drive shafts. It all came out of an extended cab, long bed, four-wheel drive 96 Dodge Cummins. So I'm hoping a lot of things should work out and fit. We're going to find out along the way. But so I got this NV 4500, which is a 5-speed manual transmission with its associated transfer case. If you can try to reuse the transfer case that's on the truck right now, the automatic transmission is mounted to a transfer case. In order to do that, you have to change the input shaft. It does work, but you have to take that transfer case off, split it apart, and change that input shaft out to get it to work. And then the drive shaft stuff kind of doesn't work. So I ended up getting this complete with the transmission, transfer case, these drive shafts. He gave me these shift boots, the pedal assemblies, which I have the other pedals sitting over here. There's the brake, there's the clutch, but got the shift boot. I got the plastic cover piece. There's the old clutch that come out of it. I got a new clutch. It's a Volair single disc. I picked this up from DAP, which is in Layton, Utah. Pretty decent deal. Diesel auto parts, or diesel automotive parts. But picked that up. I have these drive shafts also that came with it. When I got it, the classified ads, I got this master slave cylinder here. So I'll have to show you all the things I'm going to have to do on this. Project 1, I'm going to start today by cutting open the floor here, or at least getting my template. I have a template that I've made, and I'll also put up the dimensions of what this template is. That shows you where you need to cut right there in the floor to get that manual transmission to stick out. I'm probably going to dig into my gauge cluster and stuff first to get rid of the trans temp hot light, and try to cover up the park reverse neutral drive shift indicator that's over here. I'm not going to change the entire steering column. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I don't really care. it's going to be in the way. I call it an anti-theft device. Someone jumps in this and thinks it's an automatic, hopefully. It'd hinder them from walking or driving away with this thing. So that's some of the first things. And then the next thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to change these pedals out, which I don't know if you can see that. Let me get us a light so we can see things in here a little better. Okay, I think that, yeah, that helps tremendously. So you have these pedals up here. There's a pin that is in the top, back up in that deal, that you pull out. And I have the other deal out here outside. I'll show you what happens with this. But so those pedals come out and get swapped. While they're out, I'll do the master cylinder install while the pedals are not in there. That way it makes it a little easier, have some more room. But anyway, on this little bracket right here, which is in the truck, so this guy, let's orient it right here, sorry. This guy is sitting up here. It's in the truck, okay? We're gonna imagine this is in the truck. And you got your gas pedal here, and this hole right here, and this hole, there's a pin that goes through it, and it holds those pedals. And what's crazy, Dodge wanted everything to kind of be universal and not have to make one truck different from the other, whether it was manual or automatic. So with these pedals, the brake one, let me get these kind of situated. So when the brake one's in there, it's got the bigger brake thing, and it's just got one big grommet that goes all the way across, that's collared over that bolt that goes through this. So on this, we have two pedals, same bolt goes back through here. These pedals get switched in there. So once the pedals are in, the next project, and I'm not diving, a lot of things are going to be happening at once. I don't know, I have a specific order quite yet of what I'm going to do. But this master slave cylinder, so this is the one that I got. I'm going to have to mount this guy. So this little reservoir tank that's right here is going to mount. There's two little divots right here. I'll have to pre-drill those and mount that reservoir. And back down in there, probably can't see. Let me try to reach my hand. I've got some wiring stuff in the way I'll have to move. But back in here, which I have some wiring going right through it, there's a little grommet that's there. It is where that master cylinder would mount, and it's got some bolts that go to it. To get that grommet out of place, you have to go from the inside and just punch it out. But I'll have to move this wiring. It looks like I have, since I have the older master and slave cylinder assembly that come off the 98, this one presses in and twists on those ones to hold in to the firewall down there. On these 98 and newer, or 98 to 02 Cummins, there's some bolts. There's a little plate that this has to sit on and get the bolts. So I'm going to have to go to a junkyard and track that down, get that to mount up, and then I'll leave that kind of hanging in here so that once I pull the transmission and get everything swapped around, this slave cylinder's ready to go. I can get that down there, attach it. Next order of business, I'm going to have to deal with this transcooler. This right here. This guy is not going to be used anymore, and I don't want it blocking my radiator, so I'm going to pull that off and remove the lines. There's one little area that we're going to have to loop that runs through a block that normally runs through the block to the transmission and back. We're going to make a loop right there so it bypasses it from the block, so it just kind of keeps a constant circuit and doesn't come to this or the automatic transmission, because we're going to have the manual in there. So that would be one order of business. And then the lovely part, which is going to be pulling a transmission, the old one. Well, dropping the drive shafts, dropping the cross member, and then we're going to try and pull the old transmission and transfer case as one whole unit and get everything. And I'm going to check the rear main seal while I'm in there. I have a new one to put in just in case. Also, while I have this transmission out, I'm going to do the 5th gear fix. So I'm going to have to take that transfer case off of this transmission, take the back part of this transmission apart to get into 5th gear in here. And there's a little nut that backs off, and that's why these transmissions always lose 5th gear. And I've got a little kit to put onto there to lock that in place. Put this transfer case back on the transmission, and then this transmission's ready to go in there after I check the rear main seal and I check that the whole lines, I get that in there. Then I can get the cross member back in, put these drive shafts in there in place of the other ones. I might have to pull the front U-joint off of the other one to get to work here because I hear it's different, but we will see. Linkage and everything for the transfer case, I'm thinking since I got the transmission with the transfer case that it should work. So that's one thing that we're going to check. After all of that, I have a lift pump and sump. So the fuel tank, or the diesel tank, luckily right now is just about empty.